This episode of Nurses Saving Nurses is brought to you by Fiduciary Financial Advisors. Fiduciary Financial Advisors LLC is a registered investment advisor and does not give legal or tax advice. Information presented is for educational purposes only and does not intend to make an offer or solicitation for the sale or purchase of any securities. The information contained herein has been obtained from a third-party source which is believed to be reliable, but is subject to correction for error. Investments involve risk and are not guaranteed. Past performance is not a guarantee or representation of future results. Welcome to the Nurses Saving Nurses podcast, where we discuss nursing innovation, entrepreneurship, and creative problem solving, addressing some of the issues that exist in our healthcare system. We're focused on solutions, not problems.
This episode of the Nurses Saving Nurses podcast, I'm Adam Mencarelli, and I'm sitting here with Heath Biller. Really thankful to have you with us today.
Thanks, I'm happy to be here.
Heath and I go way back to early nursing days. We worked at a local organization together for a number of years, and so really excited to have him. But he is going on a new adventure, it sounds like, or has been for a little bit. So before we dive into that, though, would really love to hear about what brought you into nursing, kind of your career path, and then we'll get into where you're at today.
Sure. So I got into nursing. I think a big reason was, so my mom actually passed away from cancer when she was 50, breast cancer. And I saw kind of how she went through the health system, and, you know, she had some really good nurses that took care of her. And I think that was kind of a big reason why I got into it. And so I went to Grand Valley for nursing. I did my major in nursing, but I did my minor in business just because I had some extra credits to fill and I wanted to make it worthwhile for something. And went to Grand Valley, started at Spectrum, was there for 7 years, ended up switching over to Mary Free Bed. And then the last year I've been doing some local travel nursing contracts around Grand Rapids.
Okay. What kind of positions did you hold, tongue-tied, I know you were like part of shared leadership and other things. What type of things were you involved with at a unit level?
Yeah, so when I started at Spectrum, I was used to working a part-time job, going to school full-time, et cetera. And so from switching to that to just 3 12-hour shifts a week and having 4 days off to do whatever you wanted to, I felt like I had plenty of extra free time. And so I wanted to use that free time to do something beneficial and to gain an experience. And so I joined pretty much every committee that I could at Spectrum, right? So I was the Shared Leadership Council chair. That's where me and you met.
Yep.
I was a quality safety officer. I was the ethics steward. I helped out with a bunch of different stuff at Spectrum because I wanted to get it was a win-win-win, right? I got more experience. I got a better evaluation at the end of the year. I got a better raise. I got paid to do all those things as well. And so it was just a win all around to be involved.
Yeah, I know you were, and probably still continue to be a very highly respected nurse on the units, and made a huge impact on the nursing units that you worked. What, so talk to us now about this new adventure that you're in the middle of.
Sure. So at Mary Free Bed, actually, a nurse that I precepted that was new to Mary Free Bed, she had a family friend who started his own financial advising company about 7 years ago. And so I always talk to my coworkers all the time about getting the full employer match, you know, the power of compounding interest, how you can make money just by investing your money, make money on your money. And so obviously I was talking to her about that as well in our free time. And so she was like, I think you should really meet my friend who started his own financial advising company. And so I ended up setting up a meeting with him, and we talked for about an hour, I think. And he really encouraged me to consider potentially becoming a financial advisor. And so I thought about it for a while, and I decided I really wanted to do it. I've enjoyed nursing. I've enjoyed my coworkers, but I didn't feel like I loved it or that it was something that I was 100% passionate about. Where financial advising, I enjoy. I would probably do it for free if I couldn't get paid. But if I can do it and get paid, it's also a win-win. Just I love sharing the information about how people can, you know, turn a little bit of money into a bunch.
And did you have to do any additional schooling for that? Was it packed into your business degree that you got from Grand Valley?
Yeah, so it wasn't necessarily packed into my business degree, but you do have to take another state test similar to the NCLEX. I don't think it was quite as hard, but I definitely had to study for 3 months or so leading up to it. So in finance industry, they have, they're called series, right? So there's a bunch of different series. And so the series 65 is what you have to do for financial advising.
Okay.
You can do it with some other series like series 6 or 7 to do insurance and other things like that. So I had to pass a state test, the series 65.
Nice. How long you been doing this now?
Just over a year. Yep. So
Okay.
it was probably like last October, November that I passed and was able to start.
And so you've been able to build a client base, or who else, like who's your target audience when you're trying to help? Is it anybody? Is it your neighbor? Is it nurses?
Yeah, yep. So yeah, you build up your client base of people that you want to work with. Some people want an ongoing relationship, which I prefer because I think that can really lead to a big change. Some people just want a one-time evaluation or a one-time meeting to kind of go over everything and give them advice. And yeah, so my target audience is healthcare employees because I was a nurse, and I feel like healthcare employees are very smart in one aspect, but a lot of them are not the best with their money in the other aspect. And so I want to be able to really empower healthcare employees to use their money effectively. And I actually looked up an example for this podcast, and I will preface this as this is general advice, not specific advice, because as a financial advisor, I can't give specific advice if I don't know the whole situation, right? But this, I just wanted to show for anybody watching the power of compounding interest. So I went to calculator.net. There's a time value money calculator there. And just to give you an idea, if a nurse, this is how a nurse can become a millionaire, right? If a nurse starts investing when they're 25 until they're 65, so that's 40 years of compounding interest. If you make about 9% per year, and if they do the full 6,500 per year that you can do into a Roth IRA, after those 40 years, the account would be worth $2.3 million, right? $2,393,897.12 to be exact. Just by doing 6,500 a year, which can be a lot for some people, but that just shows the compounding interest and how time value money can really affect it. And then if they would instead wait until they're 35, right? So that instead of 25, they wait till 35. So now you lost that 10 years of compounding interest.
Yeah.
Everything else the same, it would be worth $965,000. So you just lost over $1 million by waiting those 10 years to start investing.
Pretty powerful numbers. And I think what I'm hearing you say is that we chatted about this before, but when I graduated, the move wasn't to buy a brand new Jeep off the lot. That probably wasn't where I should have thrown my money, but
Probably not.
Probably not. But I think that's great advice. What's been the biggest win for you focusing on finances and starting to go down this path?
I think the biggest win for me would be more flexibility with my time. So as nurses, especially in the hospital, you punch in at 7 or whenever your shift starts. If you're in the ER,
Right.
You punch in when your shift starts and you're there for your 12 and a half hours minus your lunch, and you can't go home and grab something. You can't do that. Like you're stuck there. And so I think a lot more accolades have to be given to nurses for that commitment, because with financial advising, it's a lot more flexible. I can come here during my day to do a half an hour podcast with somebody. I can go and meet somebody at a coffee shop. It's just a lot more flexible, which has been a big win.
Yeah, anytime you get time back in your pocket, that's the only thing you're never going to get back. And so I know, like, even within, the hospital work, flexibility is something that people are highly focused on, because people want that flexibility. They want to be able to work when they want and schedule their hours similar to many other people out there, and whether it's the business world or, someone who's an entrepreneur, because that flexibility is key. Flip side of that coin, what's been the biggest challenge you've experienced since going down this road?
Biggest challenge, whenever you're doing an interview, they always say you have to turn your challenge into a positive too, right? So I'll do the same thing, right? So I think the biggest challenge, but also been most rewarding as well, has been networking with people.
Yeah.
And so that's the biggest thing in the business world versus healthcare, especially in nursing, is I feel like in nursing, you are set there in your little bubble on your unit or just in your health system, right? Whether you're at Spectrum, Metro, St. Mary's, you don't really interact too much with people from other hospitals. And with coming out of healthcare into the business world, that's the number one priority, right? Is to networking, to build out your network, because it's you scratch my back, I scratch yours, right? We're both working together. I will help you in areas that I can, you help me in areas that you can. And I think that's kind of like been the biggest challenge, but also been pretty fun to build out. My boss at the financial advising company, he made fun of me because I didn't even have a LinkedIn account, right? Because I didn't need one. I worked as a nurse in the hospital, and I didn't need one. So that I had to start my own LinkedIn account and build that out and add in my network there. So
Yeah, and has that been a pretty powerful tool? Loaded question.
so far, I feel like that's how I actually learned about Nurses Saving Nurses, because I think it was Jeff Skinner that I saw post, right? And so just getting some of that feedback and posts on LinkedIn can be pretty powerful.
Yeah, and it's been a great, networking adventure thus far with Nursing Saving Nurses, and the events that they've been hosting and all the things has been amazing to see. And I've even clearly met a whole slew of new people through the podcast and just Nursing Saving Nurses in general, and it's been a great experience.
Yeah. So there you go. That's one thing. If you are a nurse in the hospital, you don't have a LinkedIn account, start a LinkedIn account, because then you can connect with other people. Even if you are happy with your job right now, you don't know what's going to turn out in the future and what other opportunities are out there if you don't network. So
yeah. So as you entered this business, if you're comfortable with it, will you tell us a little bit about the structure of how, are you a contractor? What type of employee you are? I know you mentioned a couple tools that you use. So thinking about the audience and someone who's like, all right, I'm gonna start the LLC. I'm gonna go down this path. How and where do you find these tools, and where do you start? Do you got to save every receipt that you spend? Can you write off your gas? Anything on the mind?
Yeah. So the way that it works for me, I don't own the financial advising business per se. So my boss, he started the business, but I feel like it's kind of an umbrella. And then as an investment advisor underneath him, we kind of all the different advisors run our own business underneath his umbrella. So he helps with compliance, he helps with other stuff, but then, yeah, I'm a 1099 contractor employee. I don't get paid except for the services that I bring in. And so yeah, for a 1099 employee, you want to make sure you keep track of all of your income and expenses. You can write off a lot of things. I'm not a tax professional or CPA, so I can't give technically tax advice, but yeah, hang on to everything that you either spend or that you earn. You can write off a lot of that at the end of the year. And yeah, some free tools. That was another big eye opener for me, is switching from healthcare to business. The way that technology works, at least that I've come across it, is there are a lot of free tools out there. So if you're looking to get started, a lot of these free tools, they give you a baseline free basic stuff that you can use with hopes that your business grows. And then since you love their service so much, that you buy the paid premium subscriptions once your business grows. And so I think that's a win-win, because for people who are just starting out, you can do all this stuff for free, right? So I use HubSpot as my CRM. I didn't even know what a CRM was when I was in the hospital, but it's a client relations manager. So it's the way that you keep track of all the different clients, prospective clients, people that you come across. But yeah, so I use HubSpot. They have a free version. There's a few other ones that have free versions. And then I was talking to you about Everlance. That's another free option where you can keep track of your expenses and your income. It also lets you keep track of your mileage. So you can keep track of when you're driving to different meetings or driving here to do a podcast.
Right. Nice.
So there's a lot of free tools out there if you're looking to get started.
And I guess overall, I think we talked a little bit about your client base. What's the end goal for you when it comes to this business adventure and what you're doing? I know you're both working in the hospital and doing financial planning. Mm-hmm. Where are you hoping to head?
Yeah, so ideally I want to switch full-time for financial advising because I love it. And I honestly can't say that I love nursing or that I do love nursing. I like it. I like a lot of aspects about it. I like helping people, but financial advising, I think I've found my true passion, which is fun. So ideally I want to do it full-time. Maybe this year I'll be able to switch full-time, and then I'm not sure yet, but I think I'll want to still keep a PRN nursing position somewhere to keep my skills up, just because, and we'll see if that continues, but.
Yeah. The nursing license is something you never let expire, right?
Yeah, I'll still continue to do my 25 CEUs, yes, just because I don't want to take the NCLEX again.
Yeah. All right, awesome. Well, hopefully we connect well with the audience, and if they are interested in, hitting you up on some financial planning or services, how can they get a hold of you?
Yeah, so I've built out my webpage, and so if you type in Heath Biller, Heath Biller, it should pop up one of the first or second lines on Google. But yeah, they can email me, call me, and I don't know, we can probably link that in the
I'm sure we
in
can.
the bottom. But yeah, I would love to. We do a free first meeting for everybody, and just to go over everything, we can give you some free advice. If you want to move forward, great, we can do that. If you want to do it yourself, that works out too.
All right, and we know you got a LinkedIn, so find Heath on LinkedIn. Really appreciate your time today. It was great catching up with you.
Yeah.
It's been a minute, but I'm glad to hear successes you're having and finding that true passion. And even though you said, you like nursing, you like helping people, you're a great nurse. When it boils down to it, worked with you for a number of years, and you were always an amazing asset to the hospital and unit and your patients, for sure. So appreciate you being here today, and give us a like, share, and follow. This is going to be it for this episode of the podcast. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening to Nurses Saving Nurses. Follow us to hear more exciting content and innovation occurring in the nursing world.